The Nigerian Port Authority recognizes that excellence in health, safety and environment performance is critical to successful port operations, which aligns with the corporate mission to deliver efficient port service in a safe, secure and customer-friendly environment. This is Nigerian Port Today. Sit back, let's sail together as we have a lot lined up for you in today's episode.
Welcome to the news segment. I'm Blessing Omeri. The news. The Managing Director, Nigerian Port Authority, Hadisa Bala Usman, has lauded the efforts of High Command of Nigerian Navy for taking the lead in producing the first navigational charts of Nigerian waters, saying that the hydrographic knowledge of our territorial waters is key to effective maritime operations nationwide. The Nigerian Port Authority boss called for more synergy amongst stakeholders with the view to assiduously collaborate in unison towards making available a holistic Nigerian maritime space chart in the least possible time, noting that about 80% of the national territorial waters are yet to be surveyed, whilst 90% are yet to be charted, going by recent data. She said that the efficient management of the maritime environment calls for plausible knowledge and professionalism in order to evolve critical strategies that would secure and regulate activities in the sector for proper conservation and sustainable use and exploitation of the resources therein. The Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Ibok Ekwe Ibas, said the Nigerian Navy are the first to produce a navigational chart for the national waters and expressed the hope that the launching of the chart would take the nation's maritime sector to greater heights, as he further stated that the hydrographic chart is not only for the safety and security within the Nigerian waters, but it is critical for information on sea and ocean management for national development. This is all for the news segment. Do enjoy the rest of the program.
Welcome and thanks for joining us. In today's episode, we shall be looking at the operational activities of one of the oldest and largest ports in Nigeria, which is also referred to as Premier Port, Apapa Keys. Our chat with the port manager, Mrs. Olufmelayo Olutu, as she shared her vision, plans to see that Apapa Port remains the premier port, an increase in revenue, and also we spoke with some of the terminal operators as they shared with us their challenges and expectations from the Nigerian Port Authority management. Enjoy.
The history of ports development in Nigeria dates back to the mid-19th century, long after the onset of seaborne trade that followed the early coastal exploration. The federal government of Nigeria initiated a drive to improve efficiency with its port reforms program, implemented in 2005-2006, and adopted a landlord model of port management. The key principle of this concession model is to transfer cargo operational obligations to private operators while retaining public ownership of the port infrastructure. Lagos, southwest Nigeria, the commercial capital of Nigeria and second busiest city in Africa, hosts two ports. But this week, we shall bring to you the operational activities of Lagos Port Complex, also known as Apapa Wharf. Lagos Port Complex, also referred to as Premier Port, Apapa Keys, is the oldest and largest port in Nigeria. Among the 26 terminal operators that were concessioned across the 6 ports, LPC has 5 terminal operators and 11 private jetties. Terminal A and B, managed by Apapa Bulk Terminal, they are into bulk cargo. Terminal C and D, ENL Consortium Limited, multi-purpose. Container terminal is being handled by AP Moller and in charge of containers. Terminal E, Greenview Development Nigeria Limited, bulk cargo. Lily Pond Container Depot. Lily Pond handles containers. LPC has access channel depth of 13.5 meters, rail and road connection. Average turnaround time 5.13 days. Berth occupancy rate 55.76%. Total number of buoys 32. Key length 2,537 meters. Container handling capacity 3.9 million TEU and berths 21. LPC Global Ship statistical data is a total of 1,154. Container traffic 361,247 and cargo throughput is 19,099,690.
Lagos Port is unique because Lagos Port happens to be the premier port in West and Central Africa. Lagos Port is the biggest port. Lagos Port, among the 6 ports in Nigeria, has the deepest draft. Lagos Port offers 24/7 palleted services. Lagos Port is where you have the movers and shakers of the maritime industry. So Lagos Port is indeed unique. But then we are not want to be daunted by the size. It's for us to come and reposition the port for efficient service delivery. The mandate of the federal government is to ensure that the maritime industry takes its place. Presently, we are the second revenue-generating industry after oil and gas, but we are hopeful that we can actually move up and ensure that there is lesser dependence on the oil and gas industry, because we have more than enough within maritime to ensure that Nigeria gets the required revenue to move the country forward. So yes, Lagos Port is unique, I agree. If you've looked at the core essence of Nigerian Ports Authority, we've talked about customer satisfaction, we've talked about efficient service delivery, safety, security.
We hope to make sure that we keep it safe and secure, and to do that, certainly there are some security procedures and measures that has to be put in place.
So what we've done upon assumption of office was to do a port tour, meet with all our esteemed stakeholders. And when I say esteemed, everyone is critical. As we are talking to the terminal operators, we are talking to the shipping community, we are talking to the truck owners, we are engaging everyone, sister government agencies. I believe in a lot of consultations. When I go on consultations, what am I trying to do? I want to feel the pulse, gauge the mood, know where the gaps are, what are the strengths, then we improve on them, what are the weaknesses, we avoid them, and what are the opportunities, what are the threats. That's what we are trying to do, and I believe we have almost covered ground. We've not been to everybody, but we've covered a lot of ground, and we've been assuring all of them. We want us to have what we call purposeful partnership to ensure that the mandate of the federal government is delivered. So we keep changing with the times and bringing to bear global best practices to ensure that Nigerian Ports Authority does it right, especially at the premier port, because whatever we do here should be what others are to follow. We are to lead and others should follow. So we intend to do that, and we are already with our stakeholders on that.
We were visited by the new port manager, Mrs. Olotu. She came to introduce herself and her team. During the tour, we had detailed discussions on the history of Ladol and what Mrs. Olotu is bringing to the job. She confirmed her commitment to the President's enabling policies, creating an environment where private investors such as ourselves could continue to invest in the port infrastructure. We confirmed our commitment to continue that investment.
The new port manager of Lagos Port Complex has hit the ground running. She did this first by having a walking tour, which we all went to familiarize herself with the terminal operators around the port. And in so doing, she has like gained most of their confidence. Even though basically we went there too to also ask for our bills, but she was able to build a relationship which has earned her a good place where they are concerned.
So far, just under 500 million has been invested into Ladol, building an integrated logistics base and a shipyard. Going forward, we look forward to working with Mrs. Olotu on creating an environment where general industrialization can flourish, and we look forward to the new port manager enabling an environment where we can attract business and become the hub for West Africa.
So what we are trying to do on ease of doing business, one, zero tolerance for document delay. If there is any delay, I've told them, you do not only acknowledge copies, you time when the document was submitted. I want to say the time on the document.
She will give you a lot of assignment and things to do, and because she's timed, she will say put the time when you receive and the time you're sending it.
So I even want to time you from when you received it and when it lands on my table. So ease of doing business means quicker turnaround of movement of documents.
My suggestion is to try and use software and technology to reduce the use of paper, because obviously, physically, if you have to sign something, you have to be on. It has to get to you, and you have to sign it, and it has to move to the next table. Whereas if it's, for example, used on a tablet where you could do electronic signatures, because it's not. There are many commitments of many managers, especially the port manager and MPA. So, sometimes there are meetings in Marina, sometimes there are different forums they're attending. So, of course, they can't be physical. You don't expect them to be at their desk from morning to night, especially when you're actually an operational agency. So, things like that where you could possibly sign while you're on the go, review documents, sign while you're on the go, so things keep moving. That's a possibility.
So we want to assure our stakeholders that when you come to RPC, we will treat your documents promptly. The second thing we have put in place is to ensure that when it comes to buying and selling of vessels, there are no delays. Whatever I am doing, they know it. We bring it. For every extra minute a vessel stays in port, it translates to huge sums of hard currency. If I'm the one paying that money, will I waste time on their documents? So I've told them, button selling, topmost priority. I've also put in place a roster for HODs so that Mondays to Fridays, somebody must stay back in case they are coming from Numasa before they get here. We are close to know. We are given a window of 30 minutes, 1 hour to attend to late processing of documents from other agencies. And where we're not able to do it on a Friday, come on Saturday, somebody must be on ground to attend to you. So that much we have done, and we intend to still step up our game. Then on the issue of the gridlock, yes, we know it's a perennial issue.
Something that is peculiar to Lagos Port is the traffic gridlock. She has challenged me, she has even asked me that after closing, we are going to move around in the night. She wanted spot on to know what the problems are and to confront the problem. That is a sign of an achiever.
One big challenge we had over a year and a half or two is the traffic situation along the access road into the port. We had a situation whereby it was very difficult for truckers to access the port to pick up their cargo, and of course it had a rippling effect, increase in transportation costs, among other things. But I must give credit to the presidential tax team. They've managed to bring the situation under reasonable control. We currently have a good movement of truckers into the port for evacuation of cargo. Going back to what the presidential tax team has done, it is very commendable. All we ask for is an improvement from what has been achieved. Currently, they've been able to make use of the truck parks provided by the Port Authority to marshal trucks coming into that have business into the terminals. And We would like them to move to the next level where they have an electronic call-up system where trucks already marshaled into the truck parks will be dispersed according to the needs of the terminals. Most importantly will be the corridor between the truck park and the terminal. It has to be free, you know, so when trucks are dispersed to these terminals, they have ease of access into the terminals.
Policies of government will depend on import and export. So if the import is prohibited or goods are prohibited, then we don't receive products. So the terminal's performance will dwindle. In the same way, if export is not promoted, it means we also won't have much business to do because we are the gateway. So when government policies keep somersaulting, importers don't know what to do next, other business manufacturers don't know how to project for years ahead, then you may find it impacts on goods and services. And so what's been imported or exported may be less, which means we'll do less business.
Mr. Vice President has paid us visits severally. We also have Mr. Kayode Okpeifa, former Commissioner of Transport in Lagos, who is also on that team, and they are working tirelessly with, of course, members of our own operations and security departments. And what we are trying to do on that is to make sure that at the gates, we do not put anything that will amount to encumbrance or that will slow down what they are doing. Already there is this transit truck park at Lily Point, which we have taken over, and the place is now functional. We're having a call-up system. We also have our safety team ensuring that trucks accessing the ports are trucks that have met minimum standards. So we are trying to just leverage on all the platforms available to ensure that the traffic gridlock is addressed. The roads are being worked on by the federal government. We are very grateful on that, and I think the Tinkan axis has been opened now. So what we are trying to do is to ensure that trucks meant for Tinkan do not even come through this corridor at all. One of the key things in management is to have good feedback. Keep listening until we all get it right.
The only one thing I will say about her is that she listens. She's not somebody who assumes to say she knows everything. Anything you take to her and you're able to defend it and explain to her, she listens very well.
My managing director was speaking at an event, Port Rail Evolution, at Landmark Event Center at VI, and this was looking at intermodal system. It's not just about road. We have the road, we have the rail, we have movement by barges on water. So it's tripodal. Yes, there has been much emphasis and much concentration on the road evacuation, but in Apapa, we have the three. We move by road, we move by rail, we move by water. It is operational in Apapa. We move containers, even from APMT. We've passed through ABTO, and a company is coming up on board shortly to come work on the entire rail system. But we have commenced already, and we intend to do more of that, because when you go by water or you go by rail, you reduce the effect on the roads. So our management is committed to that, and we have the three operational in Lagos Port Complex. Back in the roots, as people want to portray, APMT is one of our terminal operators, and they are highly digitalized. Not only APMT, virtually all the other terminal operators, including the two logistic bases that we have. Ladol, they are doing very well. They handle the Egina project. That was January 2018. We also have Eco Support, we have ABTL, we have GDNL, we have ENL. Apapa is a pace setter, like I said, when it comes to innovations in maritime operations. So most of these things, of course, have started. And for us to, at MPA, as landlords, we are not resting on our oars. For our billing system, we've gone on RIMS, Revenue Invoice Management System, and it has reached the, in fact, highest level you can think of, that any client from the comfort of their offices, they do not need to come to the port. They could upload their manifest, give us all the vital details, and the moment they are through, it hits us on our system, the person in tariff and billing opens the system, works on the bill, sends it also by automation to audit, from that account to the banks. Confirmation is made online, everything is online. And the only time we are coming to the port, maybe when you are coming for a batting meeting, to now conclude on the batting processes. Our management is doing very well in that area, and the results are there for all to see. I am revenue driven 24/7 to ensure that all the collectibles are collected. So I'm checking the bills. It's my constituency.
She is a product of tariff and billing. She's a revenue person because tariff and billing is all about generating revenue for the management. She's a go-getter. And in tariff and billing, we meet with customers. And so because we meet with them, we know their heartbeats. We know what to touch and where to touch so that we make our services better, to make the ease of doing business a reality. Also looking out for an increase in revenue here because we don't delay work at all here. And with her coming, we have seen a lot of changes. Attending the batting meeting, she has made it compulsory for us, the operational managers, to attend so that we'll know where we need to adjust, so that the generation of revenue will be increased in the management.
So that's the list I can do. When bills are presented to me, you tell me you are going to this jetty, and the rate for this jetty is X. Have they applied X? If for whatever reason you misled us before you sail, come pay us our money. That is one. Two, we are going on debt recovery exercise. A committee was inaugurated yesterday, and I made myself the chairperson. I walk my talk. I don't send people to do what I believe I should do.
Because she loves to do a job herself.
So the debt recovery committee is already in place, and I'm yet to see that person that will hear that the chairperson is the port manager herself and you want to play games. If I could recover 27 million in 2002, so we're going to make sure that we earn revenue. We also identify other areas that presently we are not earning anything, and we make sure that we earn our revenue and we collect our revenue. I'm committed to the mandate of the federal government to ensure that maritime comes up and surpasses other industries. My MDCA is one woman that I so much admire. She came in and people were like, what has she got to offer? 3 years down the line, go check the records. Supported by, I call them the three wise men, the three executive directors under this executive management, Dr. Sekonte Hutin Davis, Professor Idris Abubakar, and Malam Mohammed Bello Koko. History cannot forget them, and we will not forget them. I think I want to be remembered as one who came, encouraged others to believe in themselves, and she was driven by revenue in the morning, revenue in the afternoon, revenue at night, not only generation, collection, and collecting it at the full value of the bills, whatever we are meant to earn for the federal government of Nigeria. When Mrs. Olotu was here, you cannot take a dime from Federal Republic of Nigeria. I want to be remembered as that. Revenue collection.
You agree with me that it's been quite an insightful journey with the port manager, Mrs. Olutu, and the terminal operators. Don't forget to visit our website on www.nigerianports.gov.ng and also join the conversation on all our social media platforms. Let's get more interactive. Until I come your way again, same station, same time, don't forget that Nigerian Port Authority is committed to operational efficiency and customer-friendly service, and it's a gateway to our nation's economy. Bye.